G'day and welcome. All right, so now that the sun has come out after I get back off my ride where it was nice and cool, I had a little bit of trouble starting the bike today. I want to talk to you, get your opinion on injectors. This is my first fuel injection bike, which I just put some fuel injector cleaner in there, the first of the season. So this is my third tank, I think, this season. Ride number 9. I usually take the bike out every day. So far, I've cleaned the air filter. I've cleaned the topped up my coolant, changed the oil filter and the oil. I put 2050 in it instead of 15W50. That Triumph, they require that thickness of oil, but I can only get 2050, so 2050 is more than fine. Tires are still good. Got to adjust the chain next. One thing I want to do though, and I've already downloaded Tune ECU. If you've had any experience with the Tune ECU program, let me know. But I see a lot of Triumph guys using it, and I got the 10166 program. I haven't done anything. I still got to get the the OBD2 reader to USB to do all that stuff, and I don't want to touch the fuel mapping until later. But what my next projects are going to be next after the chain is going to be spark plugs, which I'm going to call Triumph today, see if they got 4 of them in stock and see how much they're charging. It's a NGK that Triumph has in the book. They only have one listing. They don't have champions in there. They're just the one listing for the NGK. When I went to the Canadian Tire, they up in Shawville, they only had 2 in stock. So maybe the one in town will have all 4 in stock. But I'll see what Triumph has, and if they're less than $10 a piece, I'll buy them. If they're a little more than $10 a piece, I'll buy them. If they're like $30 a piece, forget it. Because I know I can get them for about $10, $11. I can't believe the price of spark plugs today. They used to be like $3 each. But that's what happens when you haven't ridden a motorcycle on the road in 20 some odd years, and you get back into it. It's like everything went up in price so much, including the insurance. But anyway, injectors. How often do you change injectors in a bike? This bike, I got it with 27,270 kilometers on it. I'm a little over 34,000, maybe 35,000 kilometers. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can clean my injectors. There's a tool you can get. You pull them out. It looks like it's going to be a bit of a pain in the butt to do, but getting at the injectors, clean them out, see if there's some of them are duds. But how long do injectors usually last? Because I know, like in a carbureted engine, jets last forever if you don't run the engine too lean. You're usually okay, or if you don't run really clumpy gas, so to speak, the real low grade stuff. Usually everything lasts a good while. But like anything, a remapping on the digital fuel injection is like the equivalent of doing a carb sync, right? So the thing is I don't know how often you change the injectors. Do you do it every 30,000 kilometers? I know the cam chain is getting around that time where the cam chain in this might be fine. It depends on the previous rider. I don't think the previous rider really, I've probably opened this bike up more than he did. Just the way it there's just things that's telling me that, this bike's pretty good shape. But it is an old bike, and I mean, it's a 2002 model. This is the end production run from 2003. So, 35,000 kilometers in, is that usually about what you get out of injectors? Is it time to start looking at that a little bit differently? It's things that, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's my philosophy, but I do like to maintain. So I'm going to try the plugs anyway. Then I know when the plugs are changed. Chances are the plugs were changed last when I bought the bike because everything seems to be zero timed on it for the consumables. There were new tires, chains, sprockets. So if they're going to put tires, chains, and sprockets on there, chances are they're probably going to put the spark plugs in too. They also did the oil change and radiator fluid change. So I can imagine they did the flush and everything. Problem is when they did the oil change, I don't know what they put in there. Most likely they probably put 1040 in there. Most bikes seem to run on 1040. Light stuff. This bike runs hot, so like all sport bikes, it runs hot. So basically I run 10 50W20 in there, but it doesn't. The bike doesn't seem to lag at all. There's no oil lag with this bike at all. Like I can imagine on the very extreme upper end, if you were racing, you would notice it. But for street riding now, I'll go with the heavy oil, and that's fine. And it's designed for heavy oil, 50 weight oil anyway, so you're good. The thing I want to do with the injectors first is it's just like a little thing you can get. You pull the injector out, you put it in, and there's like a little solenoid. Well, basically, I guess 12 volt. You hook it up to 12 volt. It opens it up as you spray it, and it cleans it out. But also, you can look at the spray patterns of your jets to see if you've got a nice fine mist coming out there, if you've got basically a garden hose, right? Which will make it run rougher. So I don't know how long injectors last. The other thing to do, and again, once I take off the tank, right now I got a full tank in there, but on a nicer day, when they get set up, what I'll do is you can listen for the ticking of the, this is the riddle of the, I didn't know what it was, that ticking sound that Triumphs do. That's your fuel injection, that's your little fuel injection solenoids. Like there's a cam chain tick, and then there's this other little tick, tick, what those are. And now I know what it is. It's the opening and closing, because basically an injector is a solenoid. That's all it is. It's just a solenoid. Garden hose solenoid is what it is, right? It just sprays fuel, right, at a timed interval, in conjunction with your throttle, and then the throttle mapping and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm not an expert on fuel injectors, so you guys tell me what you think. What would you be looking for other than the spray pattern? Is there a way to test them to make sure that they're all operating 100% proficient? So I'm going to change the plugs. Clean the injectors. Don't know, it might take me a week or two before I get around to it. I tend to like to buy everything ahead of time. So if I do discover something when the bike's taken apart, whatever. But I'm on a very tight, extremely tight budget. I can barely afford the gas for this thing, let alone. That's why I don't go out riding a tank a day. I wish I could, but I got to kind of, ration it out a bit so I can get riding a little bit each day. I'd rather ride a little bit each day than just once every couple of days, right? So, but yeah, so the injectors, testing them, how long do they normally last? Once I clean them, once I change the plugs, then after that, the only thing to do is remap it, and if it doesn't improve. Where my rough spot is in the idle right now, on the startup. Like right now that it's warmed up out a bit, like at 15 degrees and cooler, the bike you have to hold the throttle till it warms up. And then when the bike is warmed up, the RPM keeps going down to about 1500, which seems a little bit low. When I first got the bike, it was idling at about 1800 to 2000, which runs nice and smooth and everything like that. It does run smooth, but it seems like, and the other thing too with, because I know with a carbureted engine, if the weather changes a lot, yeah, the bike runs a little bit different. But with fuel injection, I figured it would solve that problem by itself. But it seems like that when it's cooler out, the bike runs nice once you get it going. And it does start pretty good, but you have to hold the throttle to keep it going. And then when it's like 19 degrees or warmer, you hit the button, it runs perfectly. It idles perfectly, everything like that. And then once it gets hot, the idle comes down. So I don't know what that is. And again, it's not that it's a big problem. It's just, it's noticeable. It's not, the bike still is very, very smooth, runs very, very well. Like, there's no problem with it that's like, oh my God, I can't ride this thing. It's dangerous to ride or like that. No, it's still smooth on acceleration. But I notice it's getting a little bit rougher running. The other thing I want to do is, and if you guys could help me out with this one of my subscribers on my other channel, which might not be for everybody because that's a political channel. One of my subscribers did something really cool. They basically got me the Triumph manual in a PDF form, and I thought I had gotten it down because the thing's like $128 new, and I just don't have that $128, right? And take this dirty old rag and smear everything good. But I want to retime the engine, adjust the cam chain, adjust the clutch. Everything's good on it, but it's nice to know when it was done, right? And again, I'm at that service interval, so I don't know. I'm pretty sure that what Triumph probably did when they got this bike was, because they have to sell it and their reputation on it. And the guy I was talking to in there, he seemed an older guy. He's been working for Triumph forever, and he says no, when they get a used bike, they only sell a used bike if they know it's, it's been thoroughly checked out. So that means they tune it up, they do all that stuff. But these little TT600s, I don't know how hard they are on maintenance for, like, say, tuning up. Like, I'll be honest with you, I have put the throttle, to the stop point at a couple of times on it. I don't ride like a hot dog. I haven't done a burnout on this bike. I haven't done a wheelie on this bike. My goal is to keep it running. It's different when you have a number 2 bike as a backup, but this is all I got, right? This is the only vehicle I have right now. My road rage van is, my road rage van is dead. So, but not to go on too much longer here. Yeah, so everything's tuned up, but I want to do that stuff myself too. I'm capable of doing it, so I might as well do it. But like anything, you need the manual to do it. So if anybody could direct me to the downloads, or just to the engine specs for the tune-up, the full service tune-up, if you can help me out with that, that would be great. So I'll do it myself. I'm too poor. I'm at the age where I want to be able to pay everybody else to do stuff for me, but I can't afford it, so I have to learn how to do it anyway. Anyway, yeah, but yeah, what are your take on the fuel injectors? How often should you replace them? What should you look for? Is there some, how much mileage do you normally get out of them? Stuff like that. All right, anyway, have yourselves a great day.